Hello everyone, today we're going to be discussing more of Python, so please like and subscribe and stay tuned for other videos. Step into coding, Python. So these are the things that I'm going to be going over with in today's video. Table of contents, introduction to different coding softwares, what is a variable, how a variable is created, how to call a variable, what are the rules for naming variables, and what are the valid variable names. And what are the invalid variable names. So as you can see, most of this video is going to be mostly about variables and how they're created, etc. So different coding softwares, online compilers. Basically, when I first got into coding, I started using online compilers before softwares because I didn't have much idea. Online compilers are basically websites you can search up on Google, python.compiler, and you could code on it, and you could press the run button, and it works for you. So here's an example. I could press print hello world. This is a compiler, and then after I'm done my code, I just press run, and it says hello world. Easy as that. Second is Visual Studio Code. This is currently the software I'm using and is very good. It's been very reliable for me and I love it so much. You could use different coding, not just Python. Online compilers, you have to use a specific language. However, with Visual Studio Code, you could use all languages. So you need to download it. So you go on this website, click download right here, and get ready. The next one is Spyder. I also used Spyder before, but I didn't like it as much as Visual Studio Code. However, Spyder is very good, and it's very good software for especially Python because the main thing is all Python. So please go on this website. It looks like this, very colorful and very good. So come over here and press download. The next one's Atom. I haven't used Atom yet, but I've seen my friends use it and I've seen other YouTube videos. It is very good and I heard it's very reliable. So please go here and download it. The next one is Jupyter. I also haven't used Jupyter, but also I heard from other YouTube videos it's very good. I've seen most of the introduction videos I've seen, people have been using Jupyter. It's pretty popular and yeah, it looks like this. And yeah, you can just scroll down here and download and more. There's a lot of other softwares you could use too. So what is a variable? A variable is like you could say a container. For example, I have a jar. I put jam in it and then I close it. It basically stores values such as memory values. So I could have, for example, sports equals blank blank blank. I'm giving value inside sports. So if you look here, name, I'm giving a value to the name, which is tech vidvan. So it's basically just storing something inside the container. So what variable basically does, it gives data to the computer for processing. So whenever I print it, it's gonna print whatever I have in my variable. Next, it's also a placeholder for information you want Python to recall later in the coding process. So for example, if I'm coding and I want to remove something from my variable, I could always use variable name as my main thing and I could always recall it whenever I want in the whole coding process. So I could be 2 hours long in the coding process and I could call this exact same variable and it'll just print it again. And yeah, that's basically what a quick introduction to variable is. So how to call a variable. Whenever you want to print something, you want to print the value of the variable, how do you print it? So basically, first what you do is always have a name. So for example, as I stated before, my variable name is sports. So the first thing I'm going to go over with is the print statement. The print statement is what basically prints it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just prints something for you, right? So basically, over here, you have print, bracket, and then whatever you want. You can make a speech. So for example, print hello world. It just prints hello world for you. However, with this, print bracket, inside the bracket, you can write your variable name. So here, for example, I wrote here, sports equals soccer, right? This is my variable, and this is what I have stored inside the variable, right? And this is print sports. On the separate line, I'll write print sports, which basically means I'm telling the computer to print what's inside this. So if I ever run this, it's gonna print me soccer. So as I stated before, print statements can also print messages. For example, print hello world. I can say print welcome to coding, etc. But always have to add these commas. The next thing you need to check, you can check the output for the values. So whatever you have in there, as I said before, you can check it when you run it with print. Whenever you print it, you'll see what's stored inside the variable. So with variables names, for example, colors, countries, there's always rules to variable names. You can't just freestyle, add money marks, money signs, etc. You have to follow specific ruling. So first of all, variable name always begin with a letter or an underscore. You never know. You could begin with an underscore or a letter. And it's unlimited length. You could have 30,000 words and it's still a variable. You can have one word and it's still a variable. Also, if you have two separate words, you cannot have an indent between words. You have to add an underscore between the word so it works. So for example here, as you can see, kids underscore age. This is acceptable. Or you can have no space and have it like this. But you can't have kids space age. It's an error. The next thing is no special characters are allowed. So for example, the money sign, the @ symbol, the % symbol, you cannot use that. You have to use an underscore. That's the only special character that it is allowed for variable naming. Variable names always have to they have to end with a letter or a number. They can't end with the underscore, etc. because it would make an error and it would not work. The next is digits 0 to 9. You have to use numbers between these. You can't use 25, for example, because it'll just create an error. The next thing is letter A to Z. You could have capital letters or lowercase letters. It doesn't matter. So the next one is valid variable names. So these are some examples of valid variable names, and I'll explain why they're valid. So we have num1. We could see that it started with a letter and it ended with a number. So therefore it's valid. The second one is underscore str. We can see this is valid because it has an underscore in the beginning. It does not start with a symbol and it does not end with an underscore. It starts with one and it's pretty valid. This one is simple, str. It does not have any special characters and it starts with a letter and it does not end with the underscore. The next one is total underscore under. This is valid because instead of having an indent, we use an underscore that which shows that there is a space between the two words. There's two separate words, but however, instead of a space we use underscore, so therefore it's valid. This is also valid because there's no spacing, no special characters, and does not end with the underscore and it ends with the number. So therefore it's valid. Now we're going to go over invalid variable names. So invalid variable names begin with special characters such as a %, hashtag, money sign, @ symbol. Whenever you use these in the beginning, it creates an error. You cannot have this. You can always, as I stated before, you can only begin with the underscore or a letter. You can't also begin with the number. So spaces between words, as I stated before, you cannot have spaces between the words. It's gonna create an error, and instead of space, you should use an underscore like over here. The next one is begin with a number. You cannot begin a variable name with a number because it's going to create an error. You can, as I stated before, you can only begin a variable with a underscore or a letter. So these are some examples of why these are invalid variable names. So first off, we can already tell this is invalid because it starts with a number. So we could just say as that. The next one is hello John. Why is this invalid? Because there's indents between. This will create an error. So instead we use an underscore here. The next one, my name underscore. This is invalid because it ends with the underscore, which makes it invalid and an error too. So these are very important rules to know. And you should always memorize these, and whenever you're writing variable names, you should always go over your mind. Does this begin with a number, etc. So yeah, this is the end of this video. I went over variables and a quick intro to different softwares you could use. The next video, I'm going to be explaining more about the cases and the different type of variables, the multi-variables. And yeah, so please stay tuned in, like and subscribe. The next video will be coming out and will give you more into variables. So thank you for listening and have a great day.